position.
Cooper DeJean is not a safety.
And plus,
Welcome to A More Philly Union, the podcast where we can't quite believe it's time for a new season either. We are your hosts. I'm E.
I'm C.
And I'm Paul.
And we have a very special episode planned this week. So we're going to forego our regular intro banter and just jump right into things. We are super excited this week to have on the pod some of what I like to call the neighborhood kids from around the Unionverse. Please welcome to the podcast, the two hosts from the podcast, the one team we agree on, Jillian and Kyle. Welcome to A More Philly Union, you guys.
Hey, thanks for having us on. We appreciate it.
yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Just again, it's about community supporting community. We're happy to be on, so thank you guys, and glad to return the favor. And just so you guys know, the podcast with you guys was one of our top 3 so far in 2025. So
Wow. All right.
just want to let you know that.
We'll take it.
Wow.
2025 is very young, but we'll take it.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We got a long way to go.
Well, hey, thanks so much. I'm anticipating some good numbers for this week too. So I'm glad you guys could join us. It feels like, we were over at your house for a party, so now you're coming to our house for a party. Show you around.
We're excited to be here.
Yeah. I mean, exciting week, we've got Union soccer this weekend, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yes,
Crazy.
It almost snuck up on us.
it really did. It really did. I
did.
would say that to somebody else. Like, I feel like just like a week ago, we were in December,
Yeah.
and now
I
we're
know.
about to kick off the season.
Yeah,
again.
weren't we just down in Frisco, Texas at
Yeah,
the next
like at
Pro
MLS
Cup
Pro
and
Yeah,
stuff?
right.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, but here we are.
Well, Krista, you want to take topic number 1?
Oh, well, in honor of one team we agree on's intro
Tradition?
tradition. Yes, that's a good word for it. What are we all wearing this week? You won't be able to see us, so it's not as cool as you guys when you guys do it.
Well, I didn't go with anything Union because this is what I wore today for, coaching and stuff. But I'm wearing my brand new Eagles Super Bowl
That's right.
champions.
There it is.
You sure?
There it is.
Yes.
Eagles.
Yes, and I loved all your talk about the Eagles on your pod recently. So yeah,
Hard not
Kyle
to.
got to come along for the ride. Like he actually came to the parade with me, and
Nice.
we had
Kyle,
a great time.
I salute
I-
you. I salute you. Being
You know
the Dolphins fan, but to get on the join in the Eagles festivity, I salute you.
I'm a Penn State fan too. So, seeing Saquon, Jahan Dotson, it was really cool to see them there. And honestly, our friends were down there, and it's a once in a lifetime experience. I tell this to anybody, like if you don't have to be a fan of the team in your city. Like if they win the Super Bowl or championship, go to the parade. It's really cool. It's a good time to see a community, a city come together and celebrate excellence. And that's something that not every city gets to see.
And
So,
let's
Yeah.
face it, Kyle, the Dolphins.
yeah, it's been
If you look
been
at your
6 years
banner
before
there,
I was born.
and I made a ghetto rendition of my. I duct taped some 2024 up on our banner behind
Oh,
us.
that is brilliant.
I'll get it
That
actually
is
done
brilliant.
at some point. So made it work.
Nice.
So I'm wearing the "Come On, You Boys" in blue collars. This is a shirt I wore a lot in the early episodes. This is from 2022 when they were making the run to the MLS Cup, and I guess a news anchor, was asking
Yeah.
what you think about the Philadelphia Union, and she's like, "Come on, you boys in blue collars," because she didn't even know Philly had a soccer team.
Yeah.
So Sons of Ben at the time made a T-shirt, and I wear this from every now and then. This
That's
is
a great
actually
one.
like a tailgate shirt I would wear
Nice.
if I'm like not covering the team that day. I usually wear this to the games.
Nice.
That's great.
That's fantastic.
We are a bit unoriginal. We are all in our More Philly Union hoodies
There you
tonight,
go.
But-
just to complete the. But that's I think we all love these hoodies, but also it is rather cold as
It's
we were talking
freezing.
about.
Yes.
So we are bundling up. But
I will say, just for more self-promotion, but I am drinking out of a More Philly Union coffee mug.
Ooh. cool.
So there we go.
go.
Which is an amalgam of our logo and the Wawa logo. So
I was gonna say,
saw
yeah,
that.
that looks like,
Raccoon.
yes, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
That
instead
is
of the
awesome.
swan, it's the raccoon. So
That is nice.
Oh.
That's
That's
very
cool.
nice.
Yeah, we
Awesome.
make things just to amuse ourselves mostly.
yeah.
You
But
got to. You got to.
you got to. So, so yeah, so you guys attended the parade. I know Paul,
Yep.
also, was at the parade with
Yeah.
our niece and nephew.
Yeah, I was down around Oregon and Broad, and I thought, I'm not sure, but I think it might have been one of the first spots where they actually stopped the buses and got off and started walking around and showing the Lombardi Trophy. And Hertz came around, high fiving the crowds. And I was down there with my two kids because, like you were saying, Kyle, like this could be a once in a lifetime opportunity. And my son is 16, my daughter actually just turned 13 on Sunday. And so, I was like, they might actually remember going to this parade. So I was going to make sure they got there. Took the day off. We ended up going down, watching the parade go by. Like you said, Kyle, I mean, it was really a wonderful atmosphere down there. Everybody was super chill and, really happy to see each other. There was a DJ playing somewhere. There was footballs getting tossed around. You kind of had to keep an eye out because I did see a woman take a football to the side of the head, and that was not so cool. But on the whole, people were actually catching the footballs and tossing them back and forth. Even the police that were keeping things under control. They were dancing with the DJ. They would let little kids run out, and if the ball fell short, they would let the kids run out and go grab it. Obviously, once the parade started, they didn't do that, but it was awesome. It was really a good time down there.
Yeah, it was a great time. We were actually just up a little ways from you guys, but we were at Broad and Moore Street.
Yeah.
So, friend of ours who goes to Union games, she lives right there on Broad, so we were at her place, which I learned from the parade the last time that having a spot where you have facilities to relieve oneself
Wonderful.
is
Yes.
super important because I'll just say my sister had serious regrets, by the way, of not going this time when I texted her a picture of I was high-fiving Jordan Mailata and Connor Barwin
Wow.
and because
Oh,
they came off and they
fantastic.
walked right up and my sister's like, I have serious regrets because when I asked her if she wanted to go, she's like, "Oh hell no," because the last time we went, like we were up near City Hall. Actually, we were pretty close to City
Yeah.
Hall. We were at like Walnut and Broad and Walnut, and it got like people had to pee so bad, and there was nowhere to go. So like girls were circling up and
Oh
like
my
making like a
God.
shield, and then like
Uh-huh.
people peeing in a cup, like just right there on the sidewalk, and. Yeah, my sister had serious like PTSD from that still. But yeah, I never had pee so bad in my life. But no, we learned from the last experience though, and no, we had a great time. So it was awesome. What a day.
Yeah, we did that, and then we walked up to Center City
Yeah,
with our friend Mike Barrera
yeah, yeah.
from AAT
Awesome.
Sports, and
Yep.
we just took subway back up, and then I think him and his friend, they went to actually see the parade down there, and then we kind of just hoofed it back to the train station because the line to get the subway
Yeah.
from Center City, it was so long. We're just like,
Yeah.
we're walking.
Yeah, just to the train station.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like just walking. It
And
wasn't
it's
that
cool
bad.
because then you could just see the city
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
get to experience the city. So
Yeah, and shout out to Kenny Gainwell, by the way, for wearing a Union
I
Yeah,
jersey.
saw
thank
that.
you.
That
That
was
was
Holy
awesome.
awesome. Kyle's a big Kenny
Amazing.
Gainwell fan too. Like Kyle was really mad when
Oh yeah,
the
that
Dolphins
was the
didn't
guy
get
I wanted.
him
That's
when
the guy I
the Eagles
wanted
signed
to
him.
around that year.
Yeah, Kyle was mad. He was big
Yeah.
mad. Weren't you big mad when the Eagles signed Cooper DeJean too?
I was a big man when they signed Cooper DeJean as well. That was
Yep.
like my crush in the draft. That's what I never forget. Like I was like, go get him because he can play three different cornerback positions.
Cooper
I mean,
DeJean is not a
back
safety.
positions. And plus, he can return the kicker. Yeah.
Yes.
He's not a safety.
He's just a corner who locked down your number one. Yeah. Oh yes. That's when I had my students were like singing that with me at lunch. I have cafeteria duty as a teacher and we just like they started just singing that. We were all singing that. It was funny.
It
I
was.
love it. So
That's
yeah.
I love that video. I think of Slay singing that to Gene on the sideline.
Oh
That's a
yeah.
great video.
Was it?
It
Yeah.
is.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That was great.
I can't imagine your 22nd birthday and that in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What a moment. What
I
a
mean-
moment.
I mean, good for him.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
we'll get lucky and just every year of his career he'll be on a Super Bowl team for the Eagles. We could hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now that the Eagles have won a championship, okay, now it's like Phillies, Union.
Yeah.
Guys, I mean, Flyers are still kind of, and I have no hope for the Sixers. They suck. But just you know what? Shut it down. Shut down Embiid. Shut down all them. Whatever. Better luck next year. But no. I mean, looking towards the Phillies and Union, there's some hope there. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Well,
With that.
speaking of jerseys, real quick, and I apologize if I'm rehashing any old material. I remember when we were when we were at your house last time, the Volt jersey had not been released yet, and you guys alluded that you had some inside info. Did it pan out? Was that what you guys? Was that the scuttlebutt you guys heard, or can you not say?
Yeah, yay and nay, but
Okay.
we can't really say. I would say what would you say?
It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was super far off from like bits and pieces.
If you saw what the footy kits?
The footy
Yeah.
headline saying,
Yeah, that was kind of where somebody had told us and, scuttlebutt, all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we heard bits and pieces from, a few different places, but yeah, I would say it was kind of like mostly what I imagined. So I mean, I personally, I think we just reviewed them on our podcast, like all the kids.
Yeah.
Like, I would say it's not the worst, but it's not the best. It's just kind of, it's nice. I think the combination of the two kits, though, is definitely one of the better combinations. Like when you look at both together, because some of the kits are not great. But yeah, it's solid. It's solid, but it's not like Seattle or Portland level, or Charlotte. Those are my top three.
No, those kids knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Sure. It's okay. I mean, you're not going to replace the classic lightning bolt kit.
Oh, that was so good.
But like I said, I wouldn't mind the Union doing like a stripe every year, a version of the stripe. They're a midnight navy. And then kind of doing something with the lightning bolt or a lightning bolt pattern or something like that, like an off color. Just don't go white. Just
I hate
do
white.
not do the white kit again, ever again.
Boring.
But do something like that. And I think then you would have a nice combination. Now we'll see what happens, but no Simpsons kits. But I mean, if you do something with like lightning or even like something fun with like a snake, like this year,
I really liked last year's kit. I like the primary one. I really do like that one a lot.
Yeah.
That was an easy decision for me to purchase that. We got the authentic one too, because just the little details set it apart. I am glad though that the replica and authentic aren't too different though.
I'm notoriously not a early adopter of new kits, so it takes me a while to warm up to them generally. And I'm kind of struggling with this one. Like you said, Kyle, like nothing's going to beat that the lightning bolt, the classic lightning bolt kit, which I actually didn't like when it first came out, but I grew to really like it a lot. This one I've realized I was thinking about this week, and I just can't abide that yellow. There was a team we played last season.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out who this was.
I want to say it was a Liga MX team, but I don't know. I really don't remember offhand, but they had that same color yellow with light blue accents, and it just looked like macaroni salad running around the field from a picnic. And it's just an unfortunate color. And I think, but it could very well grow on me. I could be talking out of the other side of my face in a few months. So that happens.
Well, if they win wearing it, then it changes 100%.
That's exactly what I was saying.
No, and I don't hate it. I just am not just sort of lukewarm on it at the moment. I think
if it generates a winning season, it will be my favorite jersey.
100%.
And you might have to buy one for Scoops if there's a picture of Carranza wearing one of those around somewhere.
Right.
Speaking of Carranza, I mean, do you guys see that goal he had today against AC Milan?
Today? No.
Oh my goodness.
Not today.
And Kyle's an AC Milan fan, by the way. and Christian Pulisic's our boy, like, because we're from Lancaster and he's from Hershey.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, right.
so
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
but yeah, Carranza he had this beautiful header to score a goal for Feyenoord.
And they grew and they moved on aggregate. So now knocked out Milan. So yeah,
Wow.
I mean,
wow,
that was a big upset. And so Inter apparently went out too. So I mean, Milan's not feeling too good. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm happy for Julian. Like to have a big moment on a big stage like that, good for him. Good for him, even though it stinks it's Milan, but you know, I'm happy for him. Man.
Yeah,
I want to see him be successful. So I think that's really, really awesome to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just makes you proud. Just like, you know, I want to see Brujo do really well here too.
Yeah, he's got a big opportunity tomorrow night.
Yeah, he does. So
the Copa.
Yep.
God, I'm so behind on all these international tournaments.
Well, that's because it's 4 degrees outside and we're not thinking soccer just yet, but we better get on that real fast.
We'll catch up real soon.
Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest news, union news,
let's
as
jump
of
into
today
this.
is, of course, the signing of Bruno Damiani. Today, I knew you guys would know the proper term. But yeah, so from the Uruguayan Primera Division. So I personally thought it was interesting that they highlighted in everything I saw that it was like a club record deal of $3 million. It's like, look, we're spending money.
Yeah.
Look, all you people who said we're not spending money, we're spending money. So I just hope that something comes from it. But thoughts on this signing?
Yeah, it's so it outdoes the Mikel Ua signing, which was the biggest one up until now. And you know, it's funny because this is a record signing for the Union, yet still doesn't even rank in the top like 100 MLS. It's like nothing compared to some of the other teams, you know, their signings. But still, it is good to see the Union making an effort here to have a big signing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been reported officially that's $3.4 million, even though club didn't report it. I mean, it's been circulating around some of their markets as 3.4. Hey, I mean, you look at it. I mean, for the Union to spend now, I was talking to somebody today, $6 million, a little over $6 million on a striker room. You wouldn't have seen that a couple years ago. So, it's not. And I also said this. They were like, it's not the top 100. I'm like, yeah, but how many of those hundreds were busts? Now there was a lot that were really successful and changed the league too. So don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that, you know, the Union shouldn't spend, but fans wanted the Union to spend. What did they do? They went out and got a $3.4 million striker that had a career year last year in a Uruguayan league that you look at him, I mean, he fits the profile of what Carnell and Ernst want in a striker. So, I mean,
he's more of a hold-up striker, if I remember, if I heard right. Is that what you guys heard?
Yeah, and the thing I look at is he reminds me so much of Carranza's pressing on and defensive, where he's on the person defensively. He's tracking back, going forward, holding up. But the other thing I really like about him is, and I was talking to somebody about this today, is, you know, you see Quinn and what the Union like to do up the sides, where Quinn goes in, passes the ball, and somebody runs in on, crashes the net. Look what Damiani did last year. That's how he scores, just runs onto the ball. So you get somebody like Quinn and, hey, you know, Danley playing up that left side, hopefully. You know, and with those through balls, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, him and Baribo, you know, I think they're going to do it. I mean, we'll see what it does. I mean, he's on his last year's contract. I mean, I think this is it. But at the same time,
Damiani's on his last year?
No. Ua was on his last year.
Right.
I mean, you know, I think honestly this might be his swan song, but I mean, you know, as Damiani hopefully progresses, develops, you're probably going to end up seeing Rebo and Damiani starting up top.
Right.
And then, but then people are going to be like, well, what about Ua? And I'm like,
I mean, having a fresh Mikel Ua coming off late in the game, though.
Tired legs.
That could be potent.
That could be potent. So,
because we haven't really had that. Like,
Right.
you haven't really had someone that could be much of a threat off the bench since Corey Burke, having him
good old
there.
Corey Burke.
And was Corey really much of a threat?
No,
but he
we
has moments.
He
Yeah,
brought
that's
that
right.
energy, though.
Well,
He
he
did,
brought
he
the
did.
energy and
Presence.
could hold up a ball in the corner and do things when the Union had to lead late in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he could score a goal.
And
too.
speaking of Corey Burke, today
he did have some good. I should take that back. He had some good.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Corey Burke, also was
Yeah.
noted today that he signed with Lexington,
Of the USL. So.
Yeah, because
Oh.
he'd been, he wasn't with a club, Red Bulls didn't bring him back. So good for Corey. I'll never forget, though, the 2022 Eastern Conference Final, and he scores that goal to just beat the dagger at the end there, and he salutes, at the corner flag there, and, Leon jumping on him and Andre jumping on him, and it was that was amazing. But, and I still stand by the fact that, if Crepeau doesn't take out Corey there in the cup, he's going to score, and we're talking about different things. But yeah, so I think Mikel could be good off the bench there as well, and it gives you some options.
And that's the big thing. You got options now.
There's a lot of options with this roster.
It's not
right
like
now.
you're bringing on Chris Donovan. No insult to Chris Donovan. I mean, he has a role, and he's had moments. But I think now you feel a little bit better with three good strikers that you have some options.
Yeah, and Ernst went out and got, he did what he said he was going to,
Exactly. That's where I stand.
You get a defender, you get a midfielder, you get a striker, upgraded and all those. And then you got some, the young guys brought up too to round out things, and we'll see how, that goes. But yeah, so I mean, they didn't just run it back after running it back. So
after running it back,
yeah. And as much as I hate to see Jack McGlynn go, because hey, we're big fans of Jack McGlynn and everything. I think that's mutually beneficial. Jack just doesn't fit this new system, but Jack's gonna fit the system in Houston so much better. And I hope Jack does amazing, just not against the Union.
100%.
But yeah, so so hopefully that'll work out too. So.
Yeah, it's interesting because there were so many young signings there for a while that it was easy to forget. And with some of the older, and not just me, people who've been around for a while, people either leaving or getting traded or contracts sold. It was easy to forget that we still have a core of people we recognize, and people who do well. So I think it really does. I don't know. I'm almost feeling optimistic, and I hate to do it. Makes me nervous.
No, we got Andre back. We got Jacob back. We got Kai back. We got Olivier back. Although he's kind of injured a bit, but I mean, there's a bunch in the midfield. We got Gajdag and Quinn Sullivan are back. There's definitely a strong spine, but. Like Kyle said, there were upgrades in all three lines, and we'll have to see how well they jive and mesh with the rest of them, and see what the team can do under Carnell. I mean, that's going to be a big question. How do they play under Carnell? Yeah. And we're not going to know until at least 4 or 5 games into the season to get a feel for are they can they make what he wants them to do work?
Yeah.
And that's a great point. I think it's going to take some time, especially till Bruno gets acclimated.
Absolutely.
That's gonna be a real litmus test there, in my opinion. And another one that I know a friend Jose Nunez is big on, but we also are is Jovan. Jovan has looked very impressive. Now,
I was impressed with what I saw so far. Yes,
and even Frankie's looked good. Now Nate's been. Is still coming back, but even Frankie's look very impressive. He continues to develop at a very good clip. Now, I'm not saying he's ready to roll, but I mean,
but if Frankie needs to be the starter on the opening day, I'm
really intrigued by that. I'm excited to see that.
We're big fans of Frankie, because we saw him play so much at U2 level and
saw that development. And that was a story for us all last year. It's just seeing his development. And that's what's really
cool to see.
Following a team now, is you get to see these players develop in the stories that come from that, and it's just, there's something there. That's what I love about it.
Yeah. So I mean, Carnell seems to really like Frankie. We were talking about, So, but yeah, I think if Nate or Olivier aren't ready to go, I think, you can trust Frankie to, do a solid job there,
Be a
so
spot start.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. But yeah, Yvonne's good. And if Jan can stay healthy, I think they'll be fine. Carnell's a big fan of Makanya, which, okay, let's.
I mean, we'll see what the kid can do.
The kid's
We've seen him at U2 plenty.
Maybe he
wonderful
won't
Um,
get
kid,
as many red
wonderful to talk
cards
to.
like
in
great person.
MLS.
Oh, great person, great to talk to and everything. Nice kid. Between the dumb red card at the next Pro Cup, and just like the yellow card he got in
Just
the
took
friendly,
the
like,
guy out, like,
I mean,
wow.
listen, I appreciate the tenacity there and everything, but also it's a friendly, so.
Yeah.
But but hey, you know what?
Friendly.
Hey, I'm okay with giving him a chance, and
I really think I don't know. Have you guys seen like the MLS pundits predictions coming out lately? They've been coming
No, I
out.
haven't been following them.
I mean, a lot of them have Union finishing 11th and 12th.
Yeah, well, they don't know.
And I
No
think
one
that's the
knows.
biggest thing because if Andre can stay healthy,
that's the
Yeah,
key.
there
Yep.
you go.
that's the key
Mhm.
right there. If he stays healthy, but even if he, has some nicks and knacks and bumps here and bruises,
I mean,
what about Andrew Rick's development?
Yeah.
What about, what do we see there? I mean, I'm not saying he's ready to be an everyday starter yet, but he has his moments. Where's
he's
his?
had some great moments.
Yeah.
I just feel like the Union are hoping for a lot of development, and I get it. I mean, this is a club that preaches development,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
I think if they stay healthy, this is a playoff team.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I've seen people say, "Oh, they're a top 5 team." I'm not going there, but I think this is a team that, if the defense holds, Blake stays healthy, and the forwards do what they can do, I think there's some positives here, and I'm not trying to play homer, but it's the truth. I think this is a good team that's going to be in a tough division that teams have gotten better, and I think they're going to be in for a battle every week, but they're hopefully going to hold
Yeah.
serve.
Yeah, no, I'm more optimistic going into this season than last season because last season they really made no improvements.
Right.
It's true.
So
Yeah.
there's a little bit
That's
more of the
accurate.
unknown. So it's like, okay, let's see what happens,
Yeah.
So it's not like, well, we know what we had last year and we really didn't make any changes. So
Right.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
think the
how do you-
energy level feels higher this year.
Yeah.
Like there's more energy going into this season, with whether it's good or bad. It's kind of like the may you live in interesting times thing, right? Like that can be good or bad. But I think that it just feels like I'm a little more interested now with some of these moves to see what shakes out.
well, it's
Yeah.
like, sorry to interrupt. It's like just something new.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Mhm.
newness. So now
Right.
you're
Yeah.
like, oh, this is exciting. This is
Yeah.
like, it could go really bad, really
Sure.
quick, but
Sure.
hey,
Even that could be fun to watch.
Yeah.
But I think even just talking to some other people that were kind of down the dumps, now all of a sudden you're seeing them come around. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's gonna be exciting. And you hope that Carnell gets this team clicking early because
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how that goes. It's gonna be so weird not seeing Jim on the sideline.
That will
but,
be.
Very, very.
but yeah, definitely, willing to give Cardinal a chance to see what he can do.
Sure.
absolutely.
But and also, yes, like sad to not get to be like, oh, what's Jim wearing tonight? Because
Yeah.
the best strip. So
Yeah.
I know.
I
I
like
think we talked about this on your pod, but I did stalk
Yeah.
his wool coat fully and found it
yeah.
because it was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw Jim went to the Super Bowl with his son.
Yeah, we saw
So
that.
that was
That's
awesome.
awesome.
That was
So,
awesome.
yeah.
It was cool
So-
that like people were coming up to like get their pictures taken with them and stuff like that. It's like,
Yeah.
good on you, man. Good on
Yeah,
you.
for sure. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, I've heard good things about Carnell from people that had, people that were at the clubs he was at before. I've heard people say some other things too that were maybe
Yeah.
not as good. I've heard both sides of things. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll see how it goes for sure. So,
Yeah. and I'm still hopeful. There's still a little bit of a Jim Curtin legacy floating around in the club, right? That sense of, we live and die as a team, which is not an uncommon mentality, but I gotta imagine, there's still a bulk of the players that were there under him, and they're gonna carry that that legacy. Like, hey, we have to stay together as a team. So,
Oh, for sure. When you have like Ale there and
100%.
Andre and all them, and I am glad that they brought Ale back,
I think that's a huge move.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like one of those low key moves now, because I don't think he's going to play as much as he did last year. Because and not criticizing Jim, but Jim, I felt at times still relied a little too much. Now, to Ali's credit, when he was playing, and he even told us this, they won, or they did very well. So I mean, he still got. I mean, he scored a goal this past match. So I mean, he still got it. But I mean, just again, don't run him out there for 60 minutes every game. Kind of.
Yeah.
Right.
At this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've said this before, I'm sure, but I'm a huge Ali fan, as you know. But like, it brings like an organization, just a feeling of dad's on the field, maybe. Kind of, but that is not calling him old again, because I have no room, but just like, there's this organizational presence, and dare I say heart, because we always reference the replacements on this podcast. But he does bring that heart, to the field. I think so. I don't know, I think that's really important, and I'm glad to see one more year. I really am.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if he's able to like if he's thinking, okay, this is it. He can do it on his terms, Right. But yeah, that veteran leadership will be
Graham
huge.
And win the MLS Cup and walk out on high. That would be awesome.
I was like, if this is it for Brandon Graham, I'm so happy he was able to go out and make an appearance, and be there on the field at the Super Bowl,
and be effective.
Love BG. Yeah. No, love BG. So yeah, absolutely.
But like you said earlier, I think Kyle, if you got Blake playing at his high level like he does, he'll keep you in any game out there. And then you just need a couple of moments of brilliance in the attack, and between either the new players that have been brought in that we're hoping to see work out and earn their transfer fees, or the young kids who just don't know better and just try something crazy and have it work. I'll take either of those. That'd be so much fun to watch as a Union fan.
Yeah, because I think even if maybe it doesn't go as well as it could, I think there are going to be some bright moments, especially for these young kids. Like a CJ Olney. If you could get 300 minutes or something like around there, playing these like the Open Cup and some of these, get some moments. Cavan's obviously probably going to play. But even like, again, Frankie, Makanya, maybe Neil gets an appearance here and there. I think a lot of them are still going to be in Ernst said today. A lot of these guys that were signed to Homegrowns are still going to be with the second team, but maybe they get to show their tools here and there for, 60 to 100 minutes a year and this year, and kind of make an impression, kind of like what you saw with Paxton and Nate and Jack back in like 21, 22. So I think that's kind of I think that's what they're kind of getting back to, that getting those young kids some improvement, see what they have, and if it's not going to work, then maybe eventually moving forward, they make some more moves.
Yeah, I do think we might see more of Cavan.
Not
that he's going to be like starting like all these games up, but I
the
think
clock's ticking.
Yeah.
They only have him for so many more years before he goes off to Man City.
Right.
But do you think that if you had to pick a player or two that's currently on the first team roster to spend either the majority or all of the season with Union 2, do you have any feelings for who those might be?
Oh, I think somebody like Eddie.
Okay.
I think Eddie might see a lot of time down there. I still think Frankie, Neil, they see time. Probably if Jan's healthy, you probably see Makanya go in and out. Vasquez is an interesting one because David's very talented.
He's very talented.
But I don't know where he fits on that side of the field in terms of playing time. You might see him, or
Do you see Nick Periano even like fitting in here?
well, and that's
That's
what
been
that's where I
he
get
was loaned
at.
down to
I
U2 all
still
last
think
season.
somebody like Periano came on at the end.
He really, yeah, because he was kind of playing in a different role there, wasn't
You
he?
could
Yeah.
really, I could see somebody like Vasquez or somebody getting a loan. I think there's a couple
Yeah.
loans, maybe
Okay.
one or two loans coming out. But I think a lot of those guys are going to get that because, I mean, you're gonna play Chris Donovan because he's a cheap contract, right? And he's a cheap option off the bench, and he's too good for you too. But there's another chance where, I mean, I still will say this: Chris Donovan is a good USL striker, and that's no knock on him.
Mm-mm.
But I think he's kind of one of those guys
It's
that's
like Matt
for
Real, who just
yes,
he's found his
exactly,
place with
yeah.
USL. Like Matt Real is
Hmm.
doing a great job with switchbacks, and I'm
And I
happy for him.
Yeah.
and maybe I'm wrong, and if I am, I hope I am. But we'll see. I mean, like that's somebody I think that might benefit from a move eventually. But yeah, those are kind of who I think. I think your biggest ones because Carnell's so high on Frankie. I think Frankie sticks. I still think he plays a lot more than you tune, but I think Eddie's like the big one.
Yeah, especially with signing Damiani. Like it's, you
Right.
know, like there's only so much room there at striker, and you want to keep him playing.
And then there's
Hmm.
the big question mark,
Yeah.
Stas.
Stas, yeah.
Yes, our signing from last year's MLS Super Draft.
Yeah. So he's been appearing well, he was in the preseason game there with
Yeah. So
Cincinnati,
where's
and
he
Hmm.
fit in?
he's been in their social media quite a bit, and it's like, where's he fit? Is he gonna like spend time with you too, or
I still
Hmm.
think I think that's another move that he's down there. But
yeah,
I mean the guy was great at Penn, so I think
yeah.
he could. And so I think what you're getting at because well, you said it best. Like there's all these we all said there's these question marks, like this and that and this and that. And now we're just rattling off all these names that who
Only,
knows?
there's
Who
only
knows
11 spots on the field.
Yeah.
Not all of them are going to be
exactly?
on there all the
So
time.
if we're to come back here and fast forward and take a time machine and go to the future and go to October, November, December, we're gonna have a whole different conversation what
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
looks like. It could
Yep.
be
Yeah.
everybody we just talked about was in you too.
Don't
Yeah.
forget, don't forget, we got Marcus Anderson too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's one which I do think he plays a lot more because I feel like
Yeah.
his pressing fits Carnell's
He
system.
he really did well last year with you too. Like
But again, he has to stay healthy.
he has to stay healthy because that poor guy has like been injured so many times. I mean, I felt so bad for him because yeah, when he was playing, he did a great job. And aside from the unfortunate play that he had in that Cincinnati game in June when he coughed up the ball and
Yeah.
then he ended up
Oh,
losing,
yeah.
No,
that.
yeah.
But man, he did great. He did great in the next Pro Cup. He was playing like he was hurting. He
Yeah,
came out the half.
played hurt.
I think, if he had stayed in, if he'd been able to stay in, and not be, hurting, then who knows what the result might have been because when he came off, it did make a difference. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with him as well. So they've got options. They've got more options than they've had.
And
So,
isn't that nice
yes.
for a
Having
change? I
options.
mean, I know it's a clean slate right now, so we might feel even more full of options than we might in a few weeks. Who knows? But it's nice
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
to feel that way. I think I mean, there's still pluses and minuses to some of the moves that they made, just from my N of one standpoint, right? But yeah, so it's just nice to have the options. Look at all those names you guys just said.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, I do want to ask real quick because just a little side note, and we
We did
talked
mention
about
USL.
USL, right? Because you guys are kind of our U2 news source. And Kristen actually talked to a couple people about this since our episode last week, was that USL Division One league. So I'm
Oh,
just curious,
yes.
since you guys are
Yeah.
big on the Union too, like what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah, I actually got an email today because I get USL emails for some
Yeah,
reason.
we both
And
do.
it said, and it actually just came out 7:30 p.m. tonight. USL launches new Division One men's professional league and email. And yeah, I was talking all about that. So yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's
I mean, the USL's tried similar things. Lower leagues have tried similar things.
Hmm.
I think I'm not opposed to it. I'm curious to see what it looks like. How much of a pro rel is this going to be? Does this really? Because who was it back in the early 2000s? They tried to go against MLS
Hmm.
and it didn't work. I forget. There was a documentary on it, but anyway. It wasn't USL. Like USL was kind of trying to figure out, like, we're happy where we are. Was it? I think it was the NASL reboot.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they
that
like,
sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, like NASL rebooted, and then they were like doing fine. It was them and USL, and then it was MLS, and MLS was kind of struggling, and then NASL was like, we're going to try to be number one, and it just kind of collapsed.
Yeah.
Looks like North Jersey, they're saying there will be a
North Jersey,
North
yeah.
Jersey team.
I'm curious to see what this looks like because you see a lot of some of these clubs, like they'll come and go. So I think if the financials make sense, sure. But I don't know. I kind of like, and I hate to say this because some people like, I know there's a lot of pro rel people. Um, I don't know if American sports are ready for pro rel. I don't know if the average
Yeah.
American person understands
Right.
pro rel.
Oh. Mhm.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And you hear it all the time. Some of these European clubs don't even like pro
Like
rel.
watch Ted Lasso. It's like
Yeah.
Ted Lasso understanding what like pro rel is when in that
Yeah.
show.
And so I think from that standpoint, it's going to be a curious experiment. I think more teams, if it succeeds, I think it could redefine
Yeah.
Mhm.
USA soccer. But
Mhm.
this has been tried before, so call me skeptic.
Yeah.
That's where I stand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they're gonna, from what little I read, I don't think they
Yeah.
would come out of the gate with that.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
think they
it
feel
sounds
strong
like
enough that would be a down the road thing, but it could.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's not off the table either. But it's funny
No.
because just, again, these are just anecdotal examples, but I have friends who are not, as some people say, sports ball people at all. They don't follow anything. But when I explain like how relegation works, like in the Premier League or something like that, they're like, wait a minute. So there's more at stake. So they can
Yeah.
actually get knocked down to like the minors
Yeah.
for not doing well. Oh, that's more interesting.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they got to that stage and if, all that kind of stuff, if it might actually draw in some people who don't normally, follow sports in the same way,
It
I
it
don't know.
is going to
It
be
could go
interesting.
a myriad of ways, I'm sure, but
They would have to start one of those what Netflix they have, that Drive to Survive that follows the F1 series. If they did
Mhm.
something
Mm.
like that combined with the USL Premier League or whatever they're calling it, and suddenly now people not only get to watch the games, but they get to learn. See some of the behind the scenes storylines about the players and the teams. That might draw more eyes to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. No,
ambitious.
yeah,
it is very
it is.
ambitious. So.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fortune does favor the bold, though. So we'll see.
It does.
We
It
will.
does. So, just one fun little note that I noticed on social media today is apparently they ended their preseason camp by doing escape rooms. The team all went
Nice.
and did a
Mhm.
bunch of escape rooms, which we are all escape room nerds. So we that kind of hit me where I live.
Jillian and
Also,
Kyle, have you ever done an escape room?
I have not actually done
I've
one.
done a couple. So a
Yeah.
couple of my buddies. Um,
I mean, I've not done them at a place like we've actually had to do something like that a few times, like with teacher in service, but not
yeah.
like I haven't done it at like an actual place that is an escape room place.
so a
Oh,
couple of my
right, yeah.
buddies, um, Mike and those guys, they are big escape room people, and I've done a couple with them. They're fun. They're
Yeah.
fun. There's a big there's one here, there's two here in Lancaster. And we did a pirate one, we did a 50s diner, there's a tornado coming, you had to escape. We did a crazy bio one where you were in a dark room and there was an outbreak and your friend was trapped in the other room and he was contaminated, but he didn't know it. So you had to escape from him. That one was a little complicated, but
Wow,
we had fun with
that's
Wow.
that one. That one was intense.
Yeah.
wheels within
And
wheels.
because they had like people banging on the doors, like they were the government trying to get in, and like you had
That's
the timer
intense.
you had to find a cure to save your friend and get out of there, and then we did a couple others. Like there was one where there was just a storm coming, you're in a house and you're trying to find the escape to get to the shed. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
my money would be on someone like Chris Donovan being good at that because
Oh, absolutely.
he's like so
The
like,
map.
smart about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, Chris Donovan. Yeah.
They
Is
did
Dragon-
show Quinn being very intent doing something, some kind of puzzle with Legos, which also
Yeah.
kind of hit me where I live because these guys are big Lego folks. But he was so into. He's like, no, this is the thing I can do. Just leave me
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Speaking of social media too, I don't know if you saw like MLS put a thing out on Twitter today. It was like mostly like these young players mostly reacting to like Game Boys. Did you guys
Oh
see
my
I
that?
feel
God, that was
so
embarrassing.
Like,
old.
oh my
Yes.
gosh. I mean, and like Kevin being born in 2009, it's like, and
Oh
like,
my gosh.
when he's like, you know, you guys
Oh.
had like, you know, crap childhood or something.
Yeah.
Like, look at this. I'm like,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like yes, I had a Tamagotchi back in the day. Yes, I had a Game Boy and I used floppy disks and VHS. And I'm like, also I still have my Pogs and Slammers and all that kind of stuff.
That's
I
right.
could go grab them right now. Yeah, no, I have them.
My Game Boy still works. I'm
Good
like
man.
about after we get off here, I might go upstairs.
I know your Game Boy works.
It does.
I remember playing like Pokemon, like Pokemon Yellow on that
Yeah.
Game Boy.
Yeah.
So
That
good
one hit me
times.
where I live too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, dang, guys. Like the ones that were born like earlier in the 90s were like, okay, I know what this stuff is.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then like, yeah, the young ones, it's like, oh boy. But
Yeah.
I encounter that like on a daily basis with
Yes.
Sure.
teaching. Like seriously, I was teaching a lesson on budgeting and I was I like with seventh graders and I'm like talking about how minimum wage, you know, hasn't been up since 2009. And I'm like, when were you guys when they're like 2000, 2012? I'm like, dang. Yeah. I'm like, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, when things just go over their heads, it makes me feel
Yeah.
incredibly old. But
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, that was kind of a fun one to watch, but also made me feel old. So
It did. I did feel like, respect your elders when you like, and that's such the old person thing to say too.
yeah.
It really, really is. But yeah, man. And I'll be honest with you, the Game Boy had so many classic games. So many.
Nintendo is just
Oh yeah.
I still have my original Nintendo.
Yeah, we got the old school Nintendo.
We have like everything.
Mhm.
I kept all my video game
For sure.
systems.
I think my mom still has my Game Boy because she eventually confiscated it from me in the sense that I didn't care about it anymore and she did.
Oh.
She played it for years.
My Game Boy's long gone. I remember playing like, oh, you remember Kirby? I had Kirby
Oh, Kirby.
Pinball. Oh, that game was so fun. Yes, but yeah. Anyway, that segment though, man, that hit me in the feels.
I know.
Right, we did a little bit of traveling back in January, and I didn't use it, but I brought it. I busted out my Nintendo DS, and
There you go.
again, just quality product. I hadn't charged that thing in years, and I turned it on, and it's still registering almost a full battery. I'm like, holy cow, Nintendo!
Wow,
Yeah,
That's impressive.
yeah.
that is.
That's very impressive.
What chemicals are in that thing?
Yeah, right. That's the question I'm wondering.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Why is the paint peeling in that part of the house?
I don't
Anyway,
know if I should put that in my pocket.
so kind of to celebrate you guys being on the podcast with this week, to have a little fun before the work starts for the upcoming season, I think it's time. For Union Dome. All right. So welcome to Union Dome, where we're going to pit 8 union personalities against each other in an ever-increasing random bracket competition to determine who has the resistance to go the distance. I don't know. I made that up. It's bad. I'm working on it. So it's going to be 3 rounds, quarter, semi, and then finals. You guys are going to populate the quarterfinals with 8 union. personalities. My one requirement for this round is they have to be current this year. In past, we would allow it to be anybody at any way affiliated with the union, but stick with people who are currently on the team, staff, squad, whatever. So round one, the quarterfinal, our 8 competitors will face off in a cauldron of relatively normal sports-related metrics. Round two, the semifinal, the 4 remaining competitors will battle against each other in a slightly disparate web of sport-adjacent topics. And then in round 3, which is the final, the competition culminates as the 2 remaining competitors go head-to-head in a completely unrelated field by which we'll find out who is the Union Dome champion. Although I will say, I wrote this before, but this episode, because I kind of knew you guys were on, things are going to stay a little bit close to the Union. It won't get too crazy, but maybe a little bit. So
I don't get to have dinner with anyone this time.
Yeah.
I leave town for one episode.
Yeah. So we have 8 spots here. We have 4 of you, so everyone can volunteer 2 people. We'll start with our guests. So Kyle, Jillian, give me a Union personality. It can be a player, coach, whatever you guys like.
Are there any criteria for this, or it's just
I will say this: the first round is going to be pretty standard sports related things. So like, performance abilities and stuff like that. So it's probably going to be more athletes focused, but hey, we've always had a dark horse, right? We've had like Paul Cushing make it to like semifinals. So, who knows?
All right. Let's say Andre Blake.
All right.
Solid pick.
Yeah. Andre Blake.
I'm going to go staff.
Yeah, I know you are, Kyle.
All right. All right, Kyle, when you're ready.
Who do you think I'm going to go with?
Paulie Rushing.
Yep.
We got to talk to him the one time.
Really?
He's great. Yeah.
Nice dude.
He's a great dude. Yes.
I'll probably go him.
Well, hold on your second. I'm going to go across the board here for Christy and Paul then.
Yeah.
So, Christy, give me one.
I'm going to go Ty Baribo.
Hi, Baribo in slot number 3. All right, Paul.
I'm going to go Choo-Choo. Jesus Bueno.
Jesus Bueno. And you're in the number 7 slot. So we already got our first lineup. Paul Rushing versus Jesus Bueno. That's going to be interesting. All right. Jillian, you're next. Give me your second pick.
I'm going to go Frankie Westfield.
There you go.
Frankie Westfield. All right. Kyle, give me your second pick.
Let's go with new Union 2 head coach Ryan Richter.
Ryan Richter.
Ryan Richter. That's going in the number 4 slot against Ty Baribo.
Woo!
Christy, let's see. We got 2 slots left. So
I'm going to go Raffanello.
Rafa. All right. And then, Paul, you got the last one against Frankie Westfield. So you kind of know your opponent here.
Ariel. Ariel.
Whoa.
Is it 1 or 2 L's? I'll put
That's
2.
That's a
Wow.
good
Wow.
matchup right there.
Yeah. Considering they're the same
Pair
position.
of defenders there.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's a good matchup.
We've compared Nate and Frankie before. Yeah.
Okay, so we have our quarterfinal set up. We have Andre Blake versus Raffanello, Ty Baribo versus Ryan Richter, Frankie Westfield versus Nathan Harriel, and then our fourth one is Jesus Bueno versus Paul Rushing.
I got to admit, I thought, what's his name? The announcer, Dave Leno, was going to get picked in there.
Oh, yeah.
I thought about it.
Thought about it too.
I thought about bringing on Kevin
Kevin Kincaid.
We did have Kevin at one point.
Oh, the announcer.
What?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Casey.
Kevin Casey. Kevin Casey's great too.
Mhm.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, at the Union 2 games, the guys in Bridge Brigade always yell, like after Kevin Casey announces like something, the guys in Bridge Brigade down there, they're like, "Thanks, Kevin," and he waves out the window at them. It's
That's
great.
awesome.
Yeah,
Funny.
yeah, because obviously it's not quite as loud there,
Right.
so
Right.
it's pretty easy. It's
Always a fun
great.
time.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go in order. Jillian, Kyle, Christy, and Paul. So we'll just kind of go the first. Actually, there's really nothing to do. I'm just going to pick on you to pick a number. But in our first lineup between Andre Blake and Jeremy Raffanello, I need a number between 1 and 4 to see what challenge they will face off together in. So, Jillian, pick a number between 1 and 4.
Let's go with 3.
3. Okay, this could be interesting. So in the quarterfinal matchup between Blake and Raffanello, and you guys have to all decide on this. We're going to make it a blank board discussion here. And you said number 3, who is more likely to be the first to get a yellow card?
I don't even think that's a question. It's Raffanello. I mean, Blake's so good. Unless he takes somebody out in the box, I don't think he's going to get any yellow cards. Can't remember the last time he got one. He doesn't even get them for talking back to the refs.
Yeah, I mean, Andre definitely doesn't. I mean, I saw Andrew Rick get 2 yellows one time, but Andre, yeah, no.
Andre's pretty mild mannered. I've seen him get heated a couple times, but the only time he gets yellow cards is for like
What, time wasting?
time wasting.
Yeah.
That's true.
Although
He doesn't really get called. That was more like Rick got called
but
for that.
so, I've seen Blake
Zemla
get
did.
called for time wasting.
Yeah. Oh,
And
for
I'm
sure.
only asking who's going to be the first one to get it.
Probably
it's-
Rafa.
Probably
Yeah, out of
Rafa.
those two. First
Yeah.
one.
I've seen
All right.
Rafa get yellow cards.
So we're going to go with Raffanello here.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm okay with
All
that.
right.
Yeah.
So Jeremy Raffanello is through the first quarter rounds. Second quarter round matchup, Ty Baribo versus Ryan Richter. Kyle, give me a number 1, 2, or 4.
I'll go 2.
2. Okay. Now this is going to be a pretty easy one then. Who is more likely to score more goals this season?
I agree.
Ty.
Sorry, Ryan. You're
It
playing
better
this
be
right
Ty
there.
Baribo.
Yeah,
Or something's gone wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that one was kind of a gimme. So, all right. So Christy, you're next here. Frankie Westfield versus Nathan Harriel. 1 or 2?
Which number is less scary? Who's it?
Well, 1 is the
One or-
loneliest number.
1.
1. This could be a discussion. Who is more likely to get more starts this season?
Starts?
I would say Harry.
I would say Nate.
I would say Harriel. For just going off of first team only, I would say Harriel for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
It's first team, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go with Nathan Harriel. He is through. Okay, Paul, so you get the last one.
I'll pick number 1.
Okay.
I think it's.
Well, Christy, you picked number 1, right?
I did, yeah,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter anymore.
Hey, there's only 1 left.
So in the match between Jesus Bueno and Paul Rushing, again, this could be a discussion if you want to stretch it. Who is more likely to get injured first?
Well, as long as Paul Rushing doesn't get any fights, remember a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Pull a hamstring running out onto the field to
Yeah, right.
help somebody.
Right.
And honestly, I hate to say it, but Bueno's time with Venezuela, he
He had some tough breaks.
Yeah, he had a couple
Yeah.
tough breaks during his camp.
So I go with Choo Choo here.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to go with Choo Choo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Interesting.
So we have our semifinal lineup here. We have Jeremy Raffanello versus Ty Baribo in the one side, and then we have Nathan Harriel versus Jesus Bueno on the other side. Who's going to pick? Well, there's actually nothing to pick for the final. So we'll let our guests pick here.
There
so,
you go. That works.
For the lineup between Jeremy Raffanello and Ty Baribo, 1 or 2, and I'll let you guys both decide which one you want, 1 or 2 for this lineup.
All right, we'll do 2.
So Jeremy Raffanello versus Ty Baribo. In honor of having 2 podcasts under the same roof, who would make for a more interesting or entertaining or engaging guest on Not Gonna Lie with Kylie Kelsey?
Ooh.
Rafa.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking as well.
Yeah.
I've seen him on a podcast. I saw him on the Dupe with Sage, and everything. And yeah, he likes to talk.
He seems really nice too. I don't know. Just the
Yeah.
few things I've seen. He just seems like a sweetie. So
It's nothing against Ty either. I just feel like
no.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
He would be a
Rafa
much
just
more
likes to talk. Yeah.
right. I
Yeah.
think Rafa would just be a very engaging guest.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so we're going to go with Raffanella.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Although I would be very interested in hearing on a podcast with Ty Barivo.
100%.
Oh, I'd
Same.
love to hear either of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do hope he is on like, the season of the dupe, or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
That would be great.
All right. Well, then that just gives us our other semifinal here with Nathan Harriel versus Jesus Bueno. And so the question for this one could have been interesting depending if Paul Rushing had made it through. But I think these are both good. So in this lineup, who would be better at playing Fang?
Oh,
Like, and I'm thinking
Ooh.
game day in the suit, running around.
This is where we need Martinez back.
Oh,
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Am I wrong?
I think they're both good, but man, I think Choo Choo is just the energy and
Yeah. I mean,
but they both have.
I could see both of them.
But I think Choo Choo would be fun.
But the suit could be liberating, right? If you're kind of shy, but now you're in the suit, you're a different person. So
that's right.
Yeah.
I would actually think Choo Choo would be fun, even more fun than.
I'm leaning towards Choo Choo as well. I think Nate would be, that's a really tough one for sure.
Yeah.
But definitely I think, I'm leaning towards Choo Choo on this.
Yeah. Jesus would definitely.
Yeah.
I do think that Paul Rushing would be a very interesting pick to be Fang.
Yeah.
But I got to
sure.
agree as well. I think it's Bueno.
why is Fang pushing that guy around?
Yeah.
Plus, I want to see Fang do the bullhorn,
Yeah, right.
Right.
All right, so Bueno is through. This is going to be interesting. Okay. I actually originally had the Kylie Kelsey question as the final, and then I thought of this one for the new final question. So in the final, and this is a really interesting lineup, Jeremy Raffanella versus Jesus Bueno. When former Union manager Jim Curtin does become a manager at another club,
Oh, no.
who would be more likely to join him in some capacity, player, coaching, staff, etc., after their career is finished with the Union?
That's a tough one considering neither of these guys got a ton of playing time with Jim.
Yeah.
I mean, Choo Choo did like during Leagues Cup in 2023. Like he really came on, but like even last year, it's like, and I asked somebody even within the team, I was like, what's up with Choo Choo? Because Choo Choo was not happy about not getting playing time from what I had heard. And Rafa didn't get much either, but I feel like
And he's too good for Union too. Again, go back to Rafa. Rafa had success when he was with Red Bull 2 in USL.
Yeah.
I think Jim goes with Jesus because Jesus is produced for him.
Yeah. No,
Pass.
Yeah.
But it's also a question of which one of them asks Jim for a job. Like which one of them pursues an opportunity on the same team
that's a good question. That's a very good question.
Yeah, that's
and who
what
knows
kind of
where Jim ends up. I mean, we're saying Jim, obviously we're all thinking MLS, but what happens if he ends up overseas? And that's that I kind of think it's Rafa myself.
I'm thinking Rafa for that.
Yeah.
So
That's our conclusion.
All right.
Yeah, I think
All
so.
right. Well then,
there you go.
Congratulations to Jeremy Raffanella,
Jeremy
who probably
just-
hear this.
That's an interesting trip there to the Union
Winner
Dome.
of the Union Dome.
Union Dome 3, the threequel, the three-peat.
8 shall enter, 1 shall leave.
That was an interesting result because I'm looking at the original 8 and I'm thinking like for the final question of the original 8, who would I pick to like move on to a post Union career with Curtin? And
Rushing would be an easy pick.
yeah, I could see Blake going too, like as a coach, like a
right. He's already
right, Richter too.
Yeah.
Kind of on that ladder, right?
Yeah.
Jim was very high on Ryan.
Yeah.
So
interesting. That was fun.
Cool.
It was fun.
It was.
Thanks for playing.
Yeah.
Thanks for humoring us.
Next one, we'll definitely do a dinner question. So some sort of holiday party or something. Okay. Well, hey, thanks for doing a round of Union Dome. That was fun. That's our first. Was that our first time playing Union Dome with
a guest?
With a guest.
Yeah.
So
that was fun.
That was
very fun.
You guys are setting a lot of records here on this episode. So
thank you for humoring us.
A lot of firsts.
No problem. No problem. Like I said, we like to have fun.
Yeah.
So
I guess that brings us up to the first game of the season.
Yep.
This Saturday, February 22nd, Union at Orlando. Are you guys going?
No, we're not. We're not going to make this trip. We were thinking about when we had talked to you, we had thought about it.
We had thought about it, yeah.
And we actually had like flight and kind of everything together, but it's just with our weekend schedule coming up this weekend.
Yeah, like my sister has her baby shower on Sunday.
And if we were going to take a really early flight out, but if that gets delayed, then we're in trouble.
Yeah,
so
I just don't want to risk that. Union 2 actually play on Saturday apparently, but we don't know anything much about that, if that's open to anyone or not,
So we got that, and then also, we decided to do Miami instead. So
we're gonna go to Miami.
Oh wow!
In March.
That one, and then we're gonna do a couple other games throughout the year, local ones. I think Atlanta and Charlotte for sure, and then we're gonna see about Vancouver, maybe Ohio.
Vancouver is one we would love to go to if we can make that work.
Yeah,
that'd be
because of the Vancouver and the environs, or just the.
I mean, I just want to see. We've never
love
been
to visit there. I've never.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been to the Pacific Northwest ever either, so I'd love to go.
Yeah.
We've been to Montreal, we've been to that end of Canada. I've been to Toronto, not to their stadium, but I've been to the city a long time ago. So yeah, it'd be cool to see a new place. So we were hoping for some interesting away trips, but a lot of them are like, either places we've been or it's like,
just doesn't work with us.
This doesn't work. So
yeah.
Cool. So any thoughts on this game? I mean, we certainly, predictions are probably pointless. But
anybody hear anything about Orlando? What they've done in the off season?
Well, I mean, they got rid of Nicholas, Ladero. They got from Seattle last year. He's gone. Facundo Torres was sold. Know that. Willer Cartagena is injured. He has ACL. So, I mean, but they still have, they drew 2-2 with Inter Miami this week. I mean, it's going to be a tough environment. Opening weekend.
Yeah.
I don't have my hopes up for a win, but I am interested to see like what they look like on the field.
And they got some interesting players in. We're going to talk about a little bit more tomorrow. Because I do want to dive into some of their signs. I didn't get a chance to tonight. But having said that, I mean, it's always Orlando's always a team. If you talk to the fans or people that follow the team, that they always think that there's going to be a change in leadership, and then at the end of the year they make a run, and now we're going to reinvent the wheel. So I think that but then you also look at the other example. This is the Union's first time under Carnell. What does that look like as they start learning this fashion? I think this favors Orlando, but who knows? I mean, it's definitely, I think if the Union come away with a point or 3 points, that's a big kind of,
if they at least get a draw,
game on. But I'm curious to see what a full 90 under Carnell looks like. What's his subs? What does subs look like? Even though it's early, that's a big one. What is his formation opening up? What's the formation like during the game? Like, how's he subbing out? Like, makes a sub. Is there a formation switch? What's the formation like in the attack versus on the defense? Those are some of the things. I think for a lot of Union fans, just looking at those questions. And then, something that's kind of been lost in the preseason talk. I mean, what's Uwa and Baribo look like? I mean, they haven't scored yet. I mean, not that scoring in preseason really dictates anything. I've seen some interesting posts on Twitter. Again, social media is not the end all be all, I always say. But there's people like, wait a minute, are we concerned that the forwards haven't scored? No, it's preseason. But I mean, like, you see Quinn having a good preseason, Ali scoring, obviously. Some others. So, what do the new guys look like? I think another big thing is Harry healthy? Can Jan go? Or we're gonna get stuck with Makanya. Again, it, I am very curious to see what happens, and we're gonna honestly learn more on Thursday. I mean, obviously with Bradley's press conference as well. I'm sure those questions are going to be asked.
Yeah.
I want to see kind of where they're up, and then I don't know. What do you think, hon?
Yeah, I mean, I am really interested to see like how they actually look in the situation now and who they, like what their actual starting lineup looks like. Because, some of it has been kind of moved around a bit. So
Let me see if I can. Yeah.
Do we think that both teams are going to come out fairly conservative and just, or do you think Orlando's going to play to get on the front foot early and really take it to the Union?
So Orlando is a team that likes a little bit of possession. I mean, if you look at last year, they were around 52%, 53% in possession. And we all know the key, but they're also one of these teams that when like the Union Carnell said 60, 30, 10, they want to counterattack. Orlando's kind of the same way. They kind of just sit back and let you make mistakes and then pounce on you. But they're fine having the ball. But on the attack, they kind of don't really press on the attack. They kind of just sit back, wait for a mistake. You make a mistake, and then they go.
Yeah.
But they're fine with just kind of luring you in. And that's kind of what's done the Union out in the past.
Well, to quote the great Jim Curtin, possession without penetration is useless.
Although here's a
I love
fun
that quote.
stat. In seven away games, the Union are, and I'll talk about this tomorrow, but they're 2-4-3, 2 wins, 4 draws, 3 losses. But both teams have scored 18 goals, so 0 goal differential in Orlando. So just a fun stat there. But
the away match at Orlando 2 years ago
Unions
gave us
have-
that Brujo banger, remember?
yeah, I mean,
Amazing.
All timer.
Oh,
Union
that
have
goal.
had success there. And they've also, so we'll see. I think if I'm hopeful, they look solid. They look like they're still finding their form. Maybe you get a late goal, steal point or three, and you move on. I'm not really looking much into it until about 5 to 10 games into the season, I'll be honest with you. Then that's when I'll be like, okay, here's where we got a better idea what this team is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to take a few games.
How about you guys? What are you looking for?
I think, kind of based off, dovetailing with what you said, I feel like this is more Orlando's game to lose. I mean, one, they got home field advantage, but the Union are such an unknown right now. The whole new whatever. If I ask myself the question, what would make for a successful game this weekend? The Union score, and we get at least a draw. I think that's the short version of me, my opinion on this.
Yeah, let's not start out the season with an own goal this time.
No.
By the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope they play like it's their game to lose, in the sense of I hope they underestimate us and we over deliver. I'm trying to remember that work phrase I hear constantly. But yeah, it would be nice. But I fully expect that we're gonna be finding our footing for quite a while.
Yeah. Oh, I'll go totally rose-colored glasses here. I think it's going to be like the Super Bowl.
It's been a restive off-season.
Yeah, right.
2025 Super Bowl, and the Union are going to be like, there's nothing for us to lose. We win this game, we win this game. We lose this game, we win this game. We tie this game, we win this game. Let's just go fucking play. And just totally run the score up and just stun Orlando and the rest of the MLS and be like, yeah, welcome to the Union Ball.
Move over, Ali Bedoya. Paul's here, man.
I mean, yeah. So it took, hold on, when was our last pod before this? Well, before the beginning of this season was probably about 2 months ago. So it takes 2 months and a Super Bowl win to turn Paul.
And I had a pretty good tiramisu tonight too, so that
I'm sorry, you had what?
a pretty good tiramisu.
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't. I would tell fans I don't look too much into this result. Not
Yeah.
yet. I look
Yeah.
more for like common trends. If like, yeah, there's some really poor things that still haven't gotten cleaned up. How do they look different? Okay, how does the pairings and center back look? You know, those things. There's going to be bumps in the road right now, but look for common threads. You know,
Yeah.
trends. I mean.
Yeah, if they don't have a great performance, I wouldn't like think, the sky is falling. There'll be some people who be like,
Yeah.
whatever. I know some people. But no, like I think it's gonna be interesting to see, okay, how do they come out looking here? But again, I'd be happy with scoring and with the draw, like you.
Yeah.
I'm just so fascinated. I'm just so fascinated.
It's
on
going
what
to be
this
very
is.
curious.
Yes.
I'm curious what this is going
It's
to
a
look
new
like.
regime,
Yeah.
it's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah. I want to see something. I guess, just something.
Yes.
Don't be
Cohesion.
boring. Just
Yeah.
don't
Exactly.
be boring.
Yeah. Is that the official tagline for 2025? Just don't be boring.
Don't be boring.
I mean, I think that I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do something. It's like
Yeah.
that little guy with the stick.
Oh yeah,
Come on.
like
Do
come on, do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jillian, Kyle, thank you so much for joining us this week on the pod. It was just awesome having you guys here. Before we let you go, do you want to let folks know how they can get a hold of you guys?
Sure, and thanks for having us on. This was great.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
So you can find us. We're on Twitter and Bluesky. I refuse to call it X. I call it Twitter. But we are on there, both Twitter and Bluesky at TOTWAG. And we also are on Instagram and Facebook at The One Team We Agree On. We got our website, theoneteamweagreeon.com. We have our YouTube channel, and find us wherever you get your podcast.
We're on every single podcast.
We're on like every single podcast
Yeah.
platform. But also I'm on Twitter at silly_Jilly and on Bluesky at Jillian Almany.
Yeah, and we got a new article coming out probably tomorrow. We're gonna finish our thoughts on the signing of Bruno today. And then also probably be recording our prediction episode tomorrow. Right. So kind of doing a little bit more of our season prediction. We've been doing that for 3 years now. And also kind of sharing a little bit more of our thoughts on the game on Saturday. And then we'll probably have a post a pregame preview and some Union 2 stuff coming up as well. So stay tuned.
Awesome.
Never stops.
Well, thank you so much. It really was
Right.
great having
Yeah.
you guys.
This
with
is
us.
wonderful,
Yes.
guys.
Yes.
Okay. If you guys want to join in on the conversation, you can find us at our website, amorephillyunion.com. Feel free to drop us an email at pod@amorephillyunion.com. On Instagram, YouTube, Threads, Bluesky, we are a More Philly Union. We are adding to our Spotify playlists every week. Who knows what it's going to be this week, but yeah, be sure to check it out. And get our podcast wherever you guys get yours. We're also on all the various podcasters. And and if you want to go show some love for our favorite force of good, one of our favorite forces for good in the world, go check out the Philadelphia Union Foundation. You can find them at philadelphiaunionfoundation.org. And again, once more, just thank you to our guests, Jillian and Kyle, and the One Team We Agree On. So it was great having you.
Thank you. This was
Thank
great.
you. This was great.
So thanks everyone for tuning in for another episode of A More Philly Union. We are your hosts. I'm E.
I'm C.
I'm Paul.
I'm Jillian.
I'm Kyle.
Go.
me and my buddy Todd always joke because he does like a really big one with like all these charts, graphs, all this stuff, and like ours is like here's like an Excel spreadsheet, and here's all my data and stats and statistics, and
But you're more the data statistics. It's
well,
like
yeah, like so him
just
and
the
I
one that
like
was more centric to me.
if you listen to Free Kick, like him and I will sit there.
Oh,
And
when Kyle and Todd start talking data and stuff, I'm like, snooze.
Yep.
Meanwhile, our most recent
Yeah, like-
pod, Polo me and I doing like the kit reviews and stuff,
Yeah.
and being like, yeah, this kit is ass, and then this kit
Yeah.
is good, you know. Oh,
I'm right there with you, Jillian. Yeah.
I mean,